A warm welcome to Newswatch tonight. Thank you for your company as we bring you some of the stories that made headline today. My name is Melissa Oduor, together with Boniface Muredi on the sign language interpretation tonight. Newswatch begins now. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has dismissed concerns over foreign troops from Jubaland in Kenya, saying so far there is no cause for alarm. Speaking during the launch of the Jukwaa la Usalama tour in Busia, Murkomen said the government is not aware of any foreign troops operating within the Kenyan borders. However, residents have claimed that their children were avoiding school due to fears of abduction and forced recruitment by the Al-Shabaab in Mandera. While downplaying the reports released by the opposition as political, Murkomen said the government is investigating the reports that the Jubaland forces may have crossed into Mandera County. He stressed that their presence in Kenya has not been confirmed, but assured that if individuals who fled Somalia's conflict into Kenya, they will be identified and dealt with in line with international law. Now, speaking separately, former Chief Justice David Maraga, in a statement, urged President William Ruto to immediately withdraw the Jubaland forces from Mandera County, calling the presence a serious breach of Kenya's sovereignty. Maraga also called on Parliament to seek accountability from the government over how and why the forces were admitted into the country.
Every time there is a conflict in the Somalia side, it definitely spills over, especially if it's Bulahawa and the towns across the border. It affects Kenya. And remember that we have a good working relationship with Somalia as a country. And so when there is those challenges, there's citizens who feel endangered run from the neighboring country run to Kenya. But we cannot confirm now whether they were forces of where, who they are. It's only until you do proper security analysis and investigations that you get to know, is it forces, is it civilians, and so forth. It is also important to note that such security issues are handled in as security issues. So if we reach a stage where there is any challenge, we will tell the country. But at the moment, we don't have any difficulty. The complaints that have come from citizens have been looked at. The question of occupation of school, there is no school currently being occupied, as a matter of fact. And so if there are other parts of Kenya that there is a spillover of citizens from the neighboring countries, with Somalia particularly, that will be, that's why I said the security team will work on it to make sure that they return peacefully.
Now, the State Department for Diaspora Affairs, SDDA, has convened a beef trade and investment conference in Nairobi that was attended by a high-level delegation from Nebraska, USA, led by the Secretary of State, Robert Evnen. The conference brought together leaders from government, the private sector, research and training institutions, county governments, farmer organizations, financiers, and diaspora business networks from both Kenya and Nebraska to discuss trade, investment, value addition, research, and skills development across the beef value chain and related sectors. And as Alice Dana reports, the conference comes just a day after Kenya and the U.S. state of Nebraska signed a landmark memorandum of understanding to strengthen the establishment of cooperation in the fields of diaspora affairs, students, and apprenticeship.
Once you've appended your signatures, you may exchange the document.
In a historic ceremony witnessed by President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi on Tuesday, the Republic of Kenya and the U.S. state of Nebraska signed a landmark MOU to strengthen the establishment of cooperation in the field of diaspora affairs, students and apprenticeship training, skills and technology transfer, and cultural exchange. Speaking today during a beef trade and investment conference in Nairobi that was convened by State Department for Diaspora Affairs, Nebraska's Secretary of State Robert Evnen noted that the MOU has a lot of benefits.
One of the great benefits of this MOU is that it creates an organized structure for us to operate in. We'll have a committee that will meet periodically for planning purposes to identify needs and to identify processes and pathways to make this happen. So the formal creation of this structure is something that it will really put us on the pathway to making it a reality for all of us.
On her part, Kenya's Diaspora Affairs Principal Secretary Roslyn Njogu noted that this arrangement marks a significant step in expanding opportunities for Kenyans abroad and deepening people-to-people ties.
We are very excited to see how this begins to deepen collaborations and communication and conversations really between the various actors, be they academics, be they practitioners, farmers, producers, manufacturers, and so on, especially within the beef and the agriculture sectors. We've also been able to sign a labor mobility MOU for Kenyan talent to find job opportunities in Nebraska, and this was signed yesterday at State House, Nairobi.
The State Department for Diaspora Affairs has said it will work closely with partner ministries, county governments, private sector stakeholders, and Kenyan diplomatic missions to support follow-through on outcomes from the mission and conference.
But also noting that Kenya and Nebraska are fairly similar in the sense that we are both agricultural states. We started to talk about how we could have an expansion of our Mkulima Maju program, moving now to Nebraska where we have farmers and agriculture students and agriculture specialists beginning to work in Nebraska. So these are some of the pathways that we are starting to expand and we will be exploring through this MOU.
Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dana, for that report. Now, the judiciary has collaborated with the prisons and correctional services in a nationwide prison decongestion exercise. The initiative aims to ensure that the criminal justice system upholds the principles of justice, humanity, and rehabilitation. Speaking during an inaugural visit to the Garissa GK prison, where 18 prisoners were released to continue their sentences through the community service, Chief Justice Martha Koome noted that the criminal justice system has undergone significant transformation over the years, shifting from a punitive model of incarceration to a more progressive approach focused on rehabilitation, reintegration, and restoring dignity. Koome has reiterated that petty offenders with prison sentences of less than 3 months should not be subjected to imprisonment, but should be diverted to community service or other alternative sentencing options that allow them to make positive contributions to the society. Earlier on, Koome inaugurated the Garissa County Alternative Justice System along with the AJS model and the Al Islah Justice Center, marking a major stride in promoting community-driven and culturally relevant justice in the region. Self-trained cybersecurity engineer Seth Mwabe Okwanyo has been released on a 500,000 shilling cash bail and cautioned against interfering with ongoing investigations into an alleged cyber fraud scheme targeting a betting firm. The university student was arrested over the weekend for allegedly launching a cyber attack against AfriCent Limited that led to the loss of 11.4 million shillings. The prosecution had alleged that Okwanyo is linked to a sophisticated cyber fraud targeting the popular betting platform. However, the Milimani Law Court's Magistrate Ben Mark Ekubi dismissed an application by the Directorate of Public Prosecutions seeking to continue holding Mwabe in custody, noting that the application by the investigators fell short of the required threshold to justify continued detention. The case will proceed as investigations continue.
In the application. So having considered the same, I find that the application that is not merited in terms of denying the respondent his liberty. I find that as stated and as does the IO, it is evident that the suspect or respondent has no control of what the IO elucidated as part of his investigations. So I hereby not allow that application. So I'll admit the suspect respondent to a bond of Kenya shillings 1 million with a surety of a similar amount. Alternatively, a cash bail of 500,000, conditional upon him availing three contact persons.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has left for Algeria to participate in the 4th Intra-Africa Trade Fair IATF taking place in the capital, Algiers. IATF is Africa's premier platform for trade, investment and business partnerships. Kindiki is accompanied by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula together with a Kenyan delegation for the trade fair, which kicks off tomorrow, Thursday, the 4th of September, and ends mid-next week. Organized by the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, in collaboration with the African Union Commission and the AFCFTA Secretariat, the fair seeks to boost intra-African trade, drive industrialization, promote value addition, create jobs, and strengthen the continent's global competitiveness. The trade fair is expected to bring together businesses, governments, and investors from across the African continent to showcase opportunities and promote trade among member states. The event comes as Kenya is keen on expanding its export base while also strengthening bilateral and multilateral partnerships that can open new markets for local products. But regional news now, homosexuality and similar practices will now be punishable by law with a prison sentence of 2 to 5 years and a fine in Burkina Faso. This is according to the new Personal and Family Code adopted by the National Assembly. The new law was unanimously voted as part of a broader reforms of family and citizenship legislation and wider crackdown on same-sex relations across the continent. Burkina Faso Justice Minister Rodrigo Bayala, who announced the new law, said any support, practice or activities related to homosexuality will be met with severe penalties and foreigners will be expelled after repeat offenses. Burkina Faso is the 33rd out of 54 African states to ban homosexuality. A first short break here on Newswatch. We'll be back with the day's business and sports news. Don't go too far.
There's a world out there searching for hope, and you can help bring it home. By becoming a friend of Hope, you're helping us share the love of Jesus through Hope FM and Hope TV. With a donation of any amount, join hands with us to bring hope and point souls to the transforming power of Jesus Christ. Become a friend of Hope today by making your donation through the M-Pesa paybill number 933933, account FOH. For more information on how to become a friend of Hope, call 0116 212 723 or email customerexperience@hopefm.org or visit www.hopemediakenya.org. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
This September, Uhuru Park will thunder with revival.
This place that gave birth to a revival to a continent will once again give birth to a revival to a generation.
5 days of worship, word and breakthrough. Experience word that awakens destiny and presence that transforms lives. Join a nationwide awakening like no other. Come as you are, seeking, believing, expectant. Rema Feast 2025.
And so here it begins again from the 1st to the 5th of September 2025.
Entry is free.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Straight to business news now. The board of the Financial Inclusion Fund, known as the Hustler Fund, has appointed Henry Tanui as the new Chief Executive Officer for a renewable term of 3 years. Tanui takes over from Elizabeth Nkuku, who has been heading the fund since its inception. In his inaugural speech, Tanui has expressed optimism about the fund's future, stating that he will focus on re-engineering its collection processes, strengthening financial literacy, and building ecosystem lending channels that expand their reach and deepen their impact. The outgoing CEO Nkuku expressed her gratitude for the opportunity to serve and congratulated her successor. Cooperatives and MSMEs Development Cabinet Secretary Dr. Wycliffe Oparanya has commended the role of the fund in the country's socio-economic agenda, saying more than 26 million Kenyans have accessed affordable credit. He encouraged the Hustler Fund team to enhance their efforts in promoting timely repayments to improve credit scores and to expand financial literacy programs that support Kenyans in succeeding. Fair Trade Africa has marked its 20th anniversary in Nairobi, celebrating 700 million euros invested in over 780 community projects that have improved livelihoods, funded schools and health facilities, and built resilience for farmers across 33 countries. The independent non-profit umbrella organization representing all fair trade certified producers in Africa and the Middle East supports the development of thriving farming and workers' communities. Fair Trade Africa Executive Director Isaac Tongola said by uniting producer organizations under one network, Fair Trade has helped deliver guaranteed minimum prices, premium payments above industry averages, and access to finance and training. This has reduced vulnerability to market shocks and allowed farmers to increase the trade across Africa. During the celebration, Fair Trade Africa unveiled a new strategy to scale up regenerative agriculture, equip 10,000 young farmers with digital climate tools, and launch Made by Africa brands under the AFCFTA, while continuing to champion women and youth leadership. We look at sports now. President William Ruto has hosted a breakfast meeting at State House, Nairobi, bringing together the Football Kenya Federation, FKF, the private sector to deliberate on the future of sports and the role of the private sector in elevating sports in the country. While calling for a collective plan forward, the president said the government will intensify its efforts on improving sports infrastructure in the country. He has urged the private sector to formulate a framework of supporting different sports clubs to ensure corporates get value for their investments in sport.
FKF have come up with some numbers. I have tried to sharpen the numbers, I am in Pateyo. I am accused of micromanaging things, but unfortunately, sometimes when you don't do it, nobody does it. So it's better to be accused of micromanaging something and it gets done than nothing gets done. So they have given us some numbers, which I have the time to work with them on these numbers. Kenya Premier League will cost us 150 million. National Super League will cost us that much. You all have the numbers there. There is need for us to look at these numbers together. I don't want us to, and then there is need for us to desegregate these numbers. And there is need for us to agree on what can government do, because certainly, apart from building the stadia, there are things we can do. And then, what will be the place of FKF? And finally, how then does James Mwangi here and Equity Bank or East African Breweries or Toyota or Vivo or the next guy or Safaricom for that matter, how do they plug in? And we must make it win-win. We are not going to ask anybody here to put in money for nothing. You must get something out of it. If it is not win-win, it is not sustainable. So my request is that looking at these numbers, I just wanted to give you my word that the government of Kenya is all in on this program. We are all in. I also wanted to give you confidence because in the past, we have seen misbehavior by FKF, integrity issues, confusion, fights, that then no serious corporate would want to be part of chaos because it destroys their brand. We're going to work with FKF, so that we keep that space tidy and organized. And if there are issues, we will try and straighten them.
Safaricom Chapadimba All-Stars team is set for their international training camp in Spain. The team, made up of 25 of the most outstanding players, will depart Nairobi on Saturday evening, the 6th of September, for Huesca for a week-long football training camp. During their stay in Spain, the team will immerse themselves in a series of enriching activities that will test their skills against Huesca's youth academy, learn from professional players through expert-led masterclasses, and train at the world-class facilities at the base Aragonesa de Football, SD, Huesca's modern sports city. The players will also attend a high-energy Segunda Division match between SD Huesca and Malaga CF, alongside cultural experiences such as sightseeing and city tours. Gambia is intensifying their preparations ahead of a crucial 2026 World Cup qualifier match against Kenya, set for this Friday at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. The Scorpions will be looking to overcome a determined Harambee Stars side in what promises to be a tightly contested match. The previous encounter ended in an entertaining 3-3 draw back in March, played in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Gambia currently sit 5th in Group F with 4 points, 2 points behind Harambee Stars, who sit 4th in the log.
Approach is very important. It's an important game for Gambia because although it's going to be a difficult one because Kenya have the home advantage, as I said earlier, and they have their home fans and stuff like that. But it's not going to be easy. We know that, and we need to be prepared for the game. Yeah. The most important thing is like you have to focus and then train hard. It's not easy to get in the Premier League. Although when you look like 3-4 years ago, I was in Gambia, but now I'm playing in the top level, which is not easy. The journey was really hard. But for me, all I do is like focus on God first, and then second is training and to listen to your coaches and then know what to do. They can guide you because they have the right weapons for you to be in the top. So if you listen to your coaches and do what you have to do, pray every time, everything get easy. After God, everything is easy for you.
Yeah, look, it's always nice to come back, but ultimately we're here for business. You know, for me, we can enjoy it afterwards. The aim is to try and collect 3 points. We know that's not going to be easy because we expect there to be a very sort of hostile environment. The Kenyan supporters will come out in their tens of thousands to support the Harambee Stars. We've seen that through the Chan tournament, you know, very well supported games here at Kasarani. Obviously, Kasarani holds lots of good memories for me. I think my own last 2 games here were trophy winning games in terms of the Charity Shield and the final of the league a couple of years ago. So, but all of that doesn't count for anything. We've got to go on and put a performance and look to try and win the game.
Reigning national champions Police Bullets Women Football Club are determined to improve on last year's performance in the CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers, where they finished as runners-up to Ethiopian giants CBE Women's Football Club. The tournament promises to be a major platform for the development of women's football in the region, as well as offering promising encounters from the best in the region. Drawn in Group A, Police Bullets face tough competition from Uganda's Kampala Queens and Eritrea reigning champions Denden FC. Police will kick off their campaign tomorrow when they face Kampala Queens at the Nyayo Stadium. And head coach Beldin Odemba says her side is ready for the encounter.
The team is prepared. We are into the 6th week of our pre-season done. So we've been preparing for this, and we are ready. That is all I can say for now. Everybody won in their country. They're all winners in their country. They are tough opponents, all the 2 teams. We only have to do our best and give our best, play better than them, get our goals in good time, make sure we don't concede, and if we concede, make sure that we score more than them, and that's it.
Before our opening game of the CAF Women Champions League, CECAFA qualifying, which will take place tomorrow at Nyayo Stadium. Tomorrow we'll have 2 games. The game number 1 at 1 p.m. and the game number 2 at 4 p.m. And tomorrow we'll have also a very, very exciting game between Kenya Police Bullet and Kampala Queen.
And this tournament doesn't represent only teams qualifying to go up to the higher standard, but it represents young girls who have always worked hard, who have dreamt of big dreams, and them having the platform to be here.
All the very best to that team there. On that optimistic note, we wrap up Newswatch tonight. Many thanks for having kept me company. My name is Melissa Oduor. Boniface Muredi has been helping us with the sign language interpretation tonight. Have a good night.